Elon Musk became the first person in history to hit a net worth of $500 billion in October 2025. By Christmas, it climbed to $638 billion. Analysts are now saying he could become the world's first trillionaire by 2027, but here's what nobody talks about. He's burned through more cash than most people will see in 10 lifetimes. His companies have been on the verge of bankruptcy multiple times. He's made bets that looked absolutely insane, and some of them were. Today, you're going to see his biggest wins, his most catastrophic mistakes, and the strategy behind building wealth so massive, it's hard to even comprehend. Let's break it down. 1. The foundation. Selling PayPal at the perfect time. Let's go back to where the money actually started. In 2002, eBay bought PayPal for $1.5 billion. Musk walked away with over $100 million from his stake. Most people would retire. Musk did something completely different. He took that entire fortune and split it between two companies that everyone said would fail, Tesla and SpaceX. In 2008, both companies were weeks away from bankruptcy. He was sleeping on friends' couches and borrowing money for rent. If either company had collapsed, he would have lost everything. But here's the move you need to understand. He didn't diversify into safe investments. He went all in on two massive, capital-intensive industries that nobody thought a startup could compete in. That's not advice for most people, but it shows his actual strategy. He bets big on things he believes in, even when the entire world is telling him he's wrong. The lesson? Know the difference between reckless risk and calculated risk. Musk wasn't gambling randomly. He studied electric vehicles and space technology for years. He understood the industries. When you take big risks, make sure you actually know what you're doing. 2. The smartest move. Making SpaceX reusable. SpaceX is now valued at $400 billion as of July 2025, up from $350 billion just 6 months earlier. Musk owns 42% of the company and 79% of the voting shares. That means his piece is worth $168 billion on paper. Here's why SpaceX became so valuable. Reusable rockets. Before SpaceX, rockets were like throwing away a 747 airplane after every flight. It cost hundreds of millions of dollars to launch anything into space. SpaceX figured out how to land rockets vertically and reuse them. That dropped launch costs by 90%. Now, SpaceX dominates the commercial space industry. They launch satellites, cargo, astronauts, everything. NASA pays them. Private companies pay them. Foreign governments pay them. They've launched over 7,600 Starlink satellites to build a global internet network. With plans to reach 30,000, that's not just a space company anymore. That's a global telecommunications infrastructure. The principle here, find an industry with massive inefficiency and solve the core problem. SpaceX didn't just build better rockets. They changed the fundamental economics of space travel. If you're building a business, look for industries where the old way of doing things is wasteful or outdated. That's where the opportunity is. 3. The Starlink strategy, monetizing the infrastructure. Here's where it gets even smarter. Right, those 7,600 satellites aren't just floating around for fun. Starlink is selling satellite internet service to people in remote areas where traditional broadband doesn't reach. They're also selling it to airlines, cruise ships, and militaries. SpaceX built the infrastructure, and now they're collecting subscription revenue from it every single month. That's passive, recurring income on top of the rocket launch business. They created an asset that generates cash flow indefinitely. If you're building wealth, this is the model. Build infrastructure or systems that generate ongoing revenue, not just one-time payments. It could be rental properties, software subscriptions, royalties, anything that pays you repeatedly for work you did once. 4. The biggest gamble. Merging xAI. In March 2025, Musk merged his AI company, xAI, with X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. The deal valued xAI at $80 billion and X at $33 billion. Combined, the new entity is worth $113 billion. But here's the problem. XAI is burning through approximately $13 billion in 2025 alone, trying to compete with OpenAI and develop artificial general intelligence. I mean, that's over $1 billion a month. Even with a recent $10 billion fundraising round, half of which came from debt, the company is barely keeping pace with its cash burn. Musk also had SpaceX invest $2 billion into xAI in July 2025. He's using one company to prop up another, which is risky. If xAI doesn't deliver, that's $2 billion that SpaceX could have used for its own operations. The lesson here? Growth costs money, and sometimes a lot of it. If you're scaling a business, understand your burn rate and make sure you have enough runway. Musk can afford to lose billions because his other companies are printing cash. Most people can't. Don't confuse his risk tolerance with what's appropriate for your situation. 5. The Tesla dilemma. Declining sales and reputation risk. Tesla made Musk wealthy, but it's no longer the biggest piece of his fortune. His stakes in xAI and SpaceX combined are now worth nearly twice as much as his Tesla shares. That's a massive shift from just a year ago. Here's why. Tesla's vehicle sales have been falling for over a year. The stock dropped from an all-time high of $436 in early December 2024 to $315. Some of that is competition from Chinese automakers and Alphabet's Waymo. Some of it is Musk's public image, which has alienated buyers who don't want to be associated with his politics. Tesla is also facing questions about whether it can maintain its valuation. The company recently proposed a compensation plan for Musk that could be worth up to $1 trillion if Tesla hits a target valuation of $8.5 trillion. That's a massive number, and shareholders are split on whether it makes sense. The takeaway: your reputation affects your business. Musk's controversial behavior on X has cost Tesla customers. If you're building a brand, especially a consumer-facing one, what you say and do publicly matters. You don't have to be bland, but you do have to understand the consequences. 6. The cross-pollination strategy, using companies to support each other. Here's where Musk's strategy gets interesting.
Okay.
His companies work together in ways that amplify each other's value. SpaceX uses Tesla's Megapack batteries to power data centers. From January 2024 through February 2025, xAI spent about $230 million on Tesla Megapacks for its Colossus data center in Memphis. Starlink, SpaceX's satellite internet service, uses xAI's chatbot Grok for customer support. Tesla is integrating Grok into its vehicles, so drivers can talk to an AI assistant. Hands-free. Musk even plans to use Grok in Tesla's Optimus humanoid robots for situational awareness. This is vertical integration on steroids. Each company becomes a customer or supplier for the others, which reduces costs and creates competitive advantages. SolarCity's panels fed Tesla's batteries. Starlink connects Tesla trucks. Grok powers everything. The principle: if you own multiple businesses or income streams, look for ways they can support each other. A real estate investor might start a property management company to service their own rentals and then offer it to other landlords. A content creator might launch a course that promotes their consulting services. The synergy multiplies the value of each piece. 7. The Twitter disaster, buying X for $44 billion. Let's talk about what might be Musk's worst financial move. Buying Twitter for $44 billion in April 2022, the platform is now valued at $33 billion as part of the xAI merger, which means he's lost $11 billion in value in just a few years. Advertising revenue collapsed because major brands pulled out after Musk's content moderation changes. He laid off most of the staff, which caused technical issues and user complaints. The rebrand, 2X, confused people and damaged brand equity that took years to build. Musk tried to turn it into an everything app like China's WeChat, but progress has been slow. The platform is still primarily a social media site, not a financial services hub. Here's the lesson: ego-driven purchases are dangerous. Musk bought Twitter partly because he was upset about content moderation policies. That's not a business reason. That's an emotional reason. If you're making a major investment, whether it's a business, real estate, or stocks, make sure the numbers justify it, not your feelings. Elon Musk's wealth didn't come from playing it safe. It came from taking massive, calculated risks, building companies that support each other, and betting on industries that most people thought were impossible. He's also lost billions on emotional decisions and companies that burned cash faster than they could raise it. So here's the question: what's one industry you see that's broken or inefficient that could be an opportunity? Drop it in the comments.